I think we can probably wait for President Goldie. Yeah, that way I can thanks 8 million times over. I will never leave the house without. Like I said, if for some reason you need to leave, I got this run. I know that's why I was like super mad at myself when I got here. I know, right? Oh, yeah. Yeah, probably the zoning, huh? I have time I cut the beginning of the year, but that's a long time. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I see. Oh, no, however you want. Well, that's nice.
All right, it is 7 o'clock. Everybody would rise and
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Opening comments. Anybody have any opening comments? I'd like to offer public condolences to Assistant Fire Chief Don Hill, passing of his father here the preceding week. Sincerest condolences from myself and Elba Township. Long fixture with your family and the Ivories and so forth. And so, yeah, my condolences.
Thank you for that.
Approval of the agenda for June 22nd and the meeting minutes of June 8th. Any additions, corrections, deletions, or otherwise?
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Motion's been made and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Number 5, approval of payment of the bills. We have bills in the packet in the amount of $48,452.97. What's the board's pleasure?
Make a motion to pay the bills as presented.
Have support? Motion's been made and supported. Discussion? Roll call vote.
Bales,
Yes.
Boskee,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Fountain, yes. Dreier,
Yes.
Gualdoni,
Yes.
Motion is carried. Correspondence. Anybody have any correspondence? We've done reports. It'll be a longer meeting, and so I'd like to say I don't have a lot, but unfortunately I do. Hodge Lake Sewers. Last week, one of the things I dealt with is we had a generator running our stations for 5 days. They have power out. They had unclean power. Those are 480 volt pumps, and the power coming to that substation fluctuated between 506 and 508, which was setting off alarms. Finally got through the electrician. They reset the parameters for that alarm. There's a 20% give one way or the other, but it was an issue. Reached out to DT on Friday. They contacted me and said, "Is there any contacts that you have?" I said, "Yes, I do." Didn't have any response. Forgot it was Juneteenth, and so the upper echelon of DT are not working on that day, apparently. Last Tuesday, we had MTA and supervisors meeting in Elba Township at the old Elba Township Hall. It was the first time being in there since the remodel. It looks very nice. The guest speaker for the MTA was Sheriff McKenna, speaking about the special programs such as drones, crash investigation, etc., and then also the village. The speaker for the supervisors was Russ Adams. And he was, in a nutshell, asking for the different townships that got money from the state for their crime, violent crime, I guess, replenishment, if you will. The revenue sharing, as you recall, was reduced by the state, and so they gave us back a little bit more. We still came out of a net loss, but something. According to that law, the Lansing passed up to 25% of it can go for fire or EMS, and he was asking for a percentage of that to go for cardiac monitor replacement. We're going to get an official letter, but he was kind of giving us a heads up. So by the time we get that, I'm sure we'll bring it back to the board for some sort of discussion. We also had a meeting with our insurance agent, review our upcoming renewal for our risk management, our property, liability, all those things. Didn't go as smooth as what it has in past years, as well as it would say. There was no problem with all of it except for our fire department apparatus coverage. And I get it. Apparatus that went through the roof. The cost of replacement used to be $1 million was an aerial, and now $1 million is a pumper. We have a replacement for our ISO 20 years, et cetera, et cetera. The problem was that they limited what they would pay us for 3 of our frontline apparatus. Severely limited us. So in the event that we had some sort of accident, not good, we haven't had that, but struck on the expressway or something, it would have left the Elba Fire Department in Elba Township with quite a financial lurch. So I'm happy about that, and we said, you're not even giving us an option to pay, if we so choose. I was going to take that fight as far up as what I needed to, and he left, and within about 45 minutes, I got a contact, a phone call. He said the insurance company is actually going to send over something with us given the option if we want to increase those coverages. I received that, fire chief has them, and we're doing our due diligence for that all falls. Deputy Nelson, who is our one that is tasked with ordinance enforcement, right, and so forth, is no longer township deputy. She was promoted to the rank of sergeant. side note, the very first female from road patrol in Lapeer County ever promoted to sergeant. That speaks well of what we have here. So sheriff, ultimately lieutenant, and so forth were in my office. They of course put it out, the deputies showed an interest, they did their interview thing, and we are getting Deputy Jerome, who is somewhat of a familiar face for us. When Craig Cummings was off on shoulder surgery, Deputy Jerome was the one who filled his position. So it is a known commodity to us. Now I'll bring up a big one. Lippincott Road party store. They went through a site plan review to add gas. First came to the township well over a year ago and said that's what I'd like to do. Didn't know how they're going to fit in. Wasn't really our issue. You leave it up to the engineers and so forth. They ultimately did. It was reduced down to a simple 2-pump gas station. Not much. To me, it didn't seem like a very good ROI, but it's not my decision. Came through the site plan process. One of the things in order for the planning commission to approve that, gasoline tankers not going to get in and out, so they had a loop. Planning commission, or the entrance on Lippincott Road, the existing, and then coming out onto Trade Center Way, and bringing onto an intersection. Planning commission was happy with that. We obviously don't want gasoline tankers backing in or out. About a month ago, I was contacted by some of the representatives from Trade Center Way that said that's all well and dandy. He misrepresented that. He doesn't have access to our road. And we don't want him on our road with 10,000 gallon tankers. So I immediately contacted the architect engineer and said, Houston, you have a problem. And the engineer's response was, we already knew that. It is what it is. And since then, the wheels on that bus came off in a major way. I was up in the UP over the weekend, and I was contacted that they dropped off a massive excavator, also did some tearing up of Trade Center Way, which the owners on Trade Center Way were not happy about that either. And Monday morning, they were digging a hole. So photographing, documenting, doing all those sort of things that go along with that. Well, the hole was not in the position that was approved by the planning commission. So now we have another issue. Underground tank, where it's at, is probably not going to make that big of a difference, except it's not according to the site plan. And of course, then the road is going to be a major deal breaker, because without that road access on Trade Center Way, how are we going to do that, right? So the day goes on. The next day, Tuesday, here's a big old crane, and they're putting a tank in the ground, documenting, we're doing all of our things. And I was contacted by the health department without doing a quick test, and they said, you don't have a gasoline station being built there. I said, yes, I know. And he says, well, no, it's not. He said, they don't have approval from the health department either. It's a change of use, requires a substantial, they said, not going to approve it, but both from the septic, the setback, everything. So they have a cease and desist from Trade Center Way, from the township, from the health department, and from the construction code authority. The owner contacted me and wanted me to authorize him for footing inspection for a canopy that was going up on Wednesday. And I said, absolutely not. Not going to happen. So work is stopped. The excavator's sitting there, and we'll see if they can jump through the different hoops and get it accomplished. That was a very quick version of. I'm sure you might have some questions, or maybe you don't.
Is Trade Center Way public or private?
That's a private. So, you know, of course, for our things in public road, the road commission weighs in. You know, you need acceleration, deceleration, all those sort of things. But on a private road, that's up to the property owners, and in this particular case, it would have been the Lake Jefferson Road Parks that butts it, but when that road went in, they were not a part of. They don't pay any road maintenance things, they don't have access to the property to stop short of that, and Trade Center Way is residents owned gasoline tankers making that up turn. As you know, when they are making the turn, that's when the axles all are lifted up, or a good majority of them, in order to do that, and so, rightfully so, they're concerned about that as well, so. Questions for that? And I guess the only other thing that I will throw in is I've been pretty busy with FOIA requests, multiple types. And then, of course, our favorite topic, 1-800 roll-off. They have submitted another site plan for a different building. I don't see how in the world that can possibly be approved in litigation, but they want to spend money. So, yeah. Questions?
With Deputy Nelson, did we give her or we gave her authority to do small violations, essentially? Our code is telling you to push that to Deputy Brown, push down, pass the buck.
That was part of as the sheriff's department's lieutenants that were interviewing the different deputies that had put in for the Elba spot. That was a part of their interview, make sure that they were well aware that this is going to be a part of your duties. That's the slot. We have other deputies, but this is the slot that is going to be doing that. So, in the meantime, though, they've been off during the testing, and then she immediately went into sergeant's training and everything else. So I'm back to doing a whole lot more. I had 4 on road in one day. Right, treasurer's report.
I really don't have much, pretty much the same thing, we're working on getting my tax bills ready. First thing tomorrow, I am going to resubmit my warrant to the assessor, she's going to be back from vacation. So we're gonna rebalance, make sure everything's good, and then hopefully I'll do it Wednesday or Thursday, if everything goes well with the county. If not, I know we're close next week, projected out, and I get the tax bills out.
Questions? Clerk's report.
Our ballots came in, so we're working on absentees.
Planning commission.
When
Go.
the absentee ballots go?
When we get them done,
Isn't there supposed to be a date that they're supposed to go out?
not necessarily. They have to be available by the 20th, which is Saturday. Move ballots had to be Saturday. Move ballots. Military, civilian ballots.
Is that it? All right, now back to planning commission.
Busy meeting. We had Mr. Boskee come over the site plan review checklist. Questioning that. So we gotta work on that. And then we have the rezoning for the RA to R1, which we're in our agenda tonight. We have got a copy of the meeting minutes. And then there's correspondence from Stonegate Data Center, Lapeer. Busy.
Questions? Fire chief.
Very quiet on the run. We did submit the federal grant yesterday to called the Paragraph Grant for airbags, regional, 7 fire departments in the county went together. We're hoping to get that. Our airbags are almost 15 years old. There's a new standards. We have to replace them. So we applied for that grant. We should know something in September or October.
Let us know the cost if we do it with and without the grant.
The airbag quote that we have to replace our current airbags is $285,000. If we get the grant, our share will be $11,000.
Everybody cross your fingers. Commissioner, we don't have any GLT, we can't see anything.
Yes, as a matter of fact, next Tuesday, my mechanic and I are going to go over to Oak Street and Rapids and do a 18 passenger getaway.
EMS.
Theirs was really short meeting as well. They were adjourned at 9:25. It started at 9. Their volume has plateaued for the month of May, but they're still 99 to 100% response from Lapeer County. They hired 2 new full-time paramedics and 1 new part-time paramedic, sponsored an ad on Indeed. That was how they pulled those 2 applicants, and none of their committees had met. The meeting was really short.
Yes. Any questions for Kate? Right, brings us down to our first agenda item, Axe junkyard license. Wasn't in last month's meeting because he had not made it, so we have the renewal of the license in front of you. Standard question that we always ask are the property taxes paid? And answer there. Anybody have any discussion or? Board's pleasure.
I'll make a motion to review license as presented.
I'll second
Motion's been made and supported. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion's carried. Brings us down to B, rezoning petition. Parcel number Hanos Family Trust, 36 acres from RA to R1. I'll let you do from the planning commission liaison. I know we have representatives from, I think, the developers and real estate agents and so forth. And in the meantime, there is a wealth of information. I apologize, I got it on Saturday, so wasn't in your packet, so I tried to get it to you as soon as possible. I think it answered a whole lot of the questions that the planning commission did not have at the time there, but you have the floor.
So, obviously, we have Timothy Family Trust wanted to rezone from RA to R1. A lot of discussion, very little information was given to us, just a picture of essentially about plenty of document. We have more. That is steel tile that one person that lives over there is family relative of the original location. Figure it out. So that's more information. It's wonderful to see and understand. Really comes down to the 6 main layouts. Is the proposed zoning consistent with the master plan? It could be varied. Master plan says it's supposed to stay in RA. It is close to R1, just south of it. So we don't have to follow the master plan, but it's very highly recommended. That's why it's there. Obviously, number 2 is proposed zoning compatible with the surrounding uses in the butts of Lapeer. So again, yes, it abuts the RA, it abuts R1, and for keep to or whatever they stated in Lapeer. Like I said, you're not far off of R1, just south of it. So 1 and 2 were definitely kind of a maybe. Number 3 is it a spot zone? We determined it wasn't. 4 is can the property be developed as it currently is zoned? Answer is yes. Obviously, it's not what the guy wants. He wants 1 acre lots. Your minimum for RA is 5. Then number 5 is what is the impact of the proposed rezoning? Traffic volumes, thoroughfares, surrounding areas. We did not get a developed tax study, so we couldn't really tell you exactly what was going on there, other than 1 acre lots. And then number number 6 is, has the landowner voluntarily offered in writing specific use and limitations to the land, and we didn't get that. We got, this is our property. So, obviously, a lot more information today. So, we decided as the planning commission to deny it, so, because we didn't have a well impact study, and that was the main thing. There's just yeses and nos.
If I can clarify things, what you read through, unlike a ZBA, that's not a yes or no, or in a ZBA, is it self-created hardship? Yes or no? Is there something? These are just things for you to consider in making your decision, not a, we have 3 against 2 for. Anybody have any questions for Matt before we? All right. Who is going to be the person?
I gladly will. Apologize for dropping all of that information on yet so abruptly. I did present use here of the trifold this way or towards the public.
That looks like everything that's in the packet.
Pretty much, yep. It's just got it.
For board members, which you have, so you don't have to type.
Do we have something that we can just push it towards the public?
He's going to turn it off. We have that.
I don't know if maybe it's something to stand up and see if we'll tell us.
Well, if I'd known ahead of time, I could have brought up the law here.
First and foremost, thank you guys for all being here. My name is Blake Burton. I'm here representing the seller of parcel 008, 002, 001, 00, and the builder, Clearview Homes, for this rezoning request. I'm a licensed real estate professional at Keller Williams First. I was born and raised in Lapeer County. I graduated from Lapeer Community Schools. I currently reside in Lippincott Township with my wife and 2 sons. My children, ages 4 and 1, will soon one day attend Lapeer Community Schools as well. We can all test and see what's going on at the schools as we speak. They need enrollment. I understand that the Planning Commission had their concerns with the June 15th meeting. I'm not here to dismiss them. I'm here to respond to them directly with facts, documents, and the information that you guys requested. The one thing that I do want everyone to take into consideration is that most who typically stand up here view this community as a market. I do not. It is home as well. After my due diligence was completed in reviewing the Elba Township Master Plan and Zoning Ordinance 200, I was able to find 5 reasons that I felt the rezoning should be approved rather quickly. Legal authority is clear. There's 4 prior precedents of RA to R1 rezonings that have already taken place. In one particular was zoning ordinance 200.010, which was a 20.35 acre parcel that was RA and then rezoned to R1. It's off Elba Road in particular. It was actually the old school. As far as the consistency with the 2022 master plan and its own standards for review, the standards for review cite household growth as a standard for review. The plan did assume very limited housing growth. We can all attest, and myself included, housing growth and demand in Lapeer County has risen substantially. Housing costs. Home values are up 36% from 2022 to 2026. Adjacent planning and zoning. I understand and respect that we are in Elba Township tonight. I understand and respect that the relationship Elba Township has with the city of Lapeer is not the best. However, progression is inevitable. We have to acknowledge that the adjacent parcel is located in a G2 growth sector and will be developed at some point in time. I would rather have control of our fate than let it be up to them. Number 3 was projected tax revenue increases. As it sits right now, based on the 2024 tax year, this parcel brought $759 in tax revenue. With 25 to 30 single-family homes and the standard village basis of 40 mils for Elba Township as a homestead residence, we can see upwards of $217,000 to $276,000 in additional tax revenue. That's going to go towards roads, services, schools, fire department. And those tax revenue increasements are only based just solely on property taxes, not the increasement of dining out, shopping, travel expenses, etc. As I mentioned prior, Lapeer Community Schools needs this growth pretty bad. 2023 being the basis point, 4,434 students was their enrollment numbers. 2024, they lost 132, and 2025, they lost 169 students. Now, I'm not saying 25 to 30 new homes is going to be the big make or break. However, I don't want to just dismiss 150 to 180,000 in school revenue funding from the state as a not a substantial amount of money. 5, the surrounding zoning and community support. The unique part of this parcel in particular is truly it's a one-of-one. It borders Oregon Township, it borders the city of Lapeer, and as well as Elba Township. To the north in Oregon Township, we have R1 parcels. To the west, we have RA parcels that were recently split in 2023, and 15-acre parcels. To the south, we have R1, and to the east, of course, the R2 multifamily condensed housing in the city of Lapeer. An interesting fact that I did notice while reviewing county and township master plan is upon the completion of the Brookwood subdivision that's being proposed by Alan Edwin, and this one, which would be with 42 acres, the city of Lapeer is going to have approximately 220 acres remaining that is undeveloped land. At some point, they're going to realize that. Say, wait a minute, we need more land to develop. We're going to run out of housing. In the 2022 master plan, Elba Township conducted a survey for community input. 81% were in favor of more residential housing is needed in the township. 50% single-family homes in subdivisions. New housing adjacent to existing residential was 61%, and new housing in rural areas was 57%. As my son's back, I apologize. As far as directly responding to the Planning Commission's 6 points after my review, I found that is the proposed rezoning consistent? I believe yes, based on the 2022 township master plan and being located in the G2 controlled growth sector, which is also stated on page 8 of the Elba Township master plan. Is the proposed rezoning compatible with surrounding land uses? We just went over those. We're granting the request to create a spot zone. No. The Planning Commission already answered that one. Can the property be developed as currently zoned? Yes, absolutely it can. However, 5-acre minimum lot sizes under the RA rules and regulations for the zoning ordinance would ultimately eliminate any possibility of delivering affordable and obtainable housing that both the state of Michigan and Elba Township's own master plan acknowledges. The 5-acre minimum lot requirement would price out the exact families that we all need to join this community. Young families, first-time home buyers, as well as the working households who cannot simply afford a highly valuable 5-acre rural estate. The traffic impact study. I'm not going to stand up here and say I'm a professional engineer, but with some simple research, I was able to find traffic counts in the 2022 Elba Township Master Plan, as well as our Lapeer County Road Commission's website. As it sits right now for the 2021 Master Plan, it shows that we had 2,530 vehicles per day. And based on the Lapeer County Road Commission's 2023 annual count was, again, 2,530. Now, doing MDOT's background growth rate that I found was 1% year over year in the applied 2023 count, and the addition of 25 to 30 new homes, which is projecting 250 to 300 additional trips per day. We could consider that we are projecting in 2026, with the development completed, an additional 2,800, or a total vehicle trips per day of 2,820 to 2,910. Again, these are projections. I'm not an engineer, but I felt that I'd be doing a disservice to you guys and our community if I did not provide some statistics I was able to find. And number 6 was, has landowner voluntary offered written conditions of land uses? No, he is not. I speak with him almost daily. He did want me to let you to acknowledge the fact that he is in full support of this rezoning and is formally requesting the board approve it tonight. The landowner is excited to see an investment willing to be made by a developer who's local to us, in our community, and in our township. With all of that being said, I know I just said a lot. If you guys have any questions for me.
Anybody have any questions? You gotta smile, so here you go.
So what is your definition of affordable housing?
So as it sits right now, the average median income for Lapeer County is approximately $104,800 annually. So that's the AMI, average median income. To which I'm assuming I can tell kind of where this is going. I totally respect that. To obtain a loan for $375,000 purchase, if we were to factor in a 20% down payment, we would see that that would be at the 105 to 110% AMI levels. To classify for workforce housing for HUD standards and say the state of Michigan's tax increment financing, which we're all learning about with the city commission, you would have to be at the 60 to 120% to obtain that type of financing. Again, we're not applying for that at all. However, it is within that AMI. Now, at the $475,000 price point, yes, we will be at about 150 to 100, or be 140 to 150 AMI, and they would need to be making 150 to 165K annually.
So, nope, you were getting to where I was getting, but that's okay. So as far as the lot size, if you were to sell, since you're a realtor, a 5-acre lot opposed to a 1-acre lot, what is the difference as far as value?
I would probably say 650 to 750.
Per acre?
No, as far as the developed home on 5 acres.
No, I'm just saying if you're selling that acreage,
What
would be the difference if you're selling a 1-acre lot vacant or a 5-acre lot?
I would say, truthfully, the rarity in the 1-acre lots right now that are township, because if you look around, there are no other 1-acre lots available anywhere. You'd probably be the 50 to 60K range. Yeah.
What's the difference between the two?
5 acres would probably go for 80 to 100,000. Double value.
Opposed to 1 acre, you said 50?
Yeah, I would say 1 acre, right around the 50. It might be on the high end. I've never counted out 1 acre lots. In the 6 years that I've been doing this. But yeah, it's substantial because you got to factor in the affordability levels, right? That's the key indicator. Yeah, we can price a house at $1 million, but it's not affordable in that market. But nobody's gonna pay it.
So at the 104,000, how many people do you think that are applying for loans at this point for a house that would be, whether it's a 1 acre or a 5-acre parcel? Like, what are you selling right now?
What am I selling right now? The hot markets are probably between 250 and 350 at market point. Again, we're talking at that price point though, we're in 1960s to 1980s ranch homes. I just sold one off Thurl Road. It was a 3-bed, 1-bath, 1,200 square foot ranch for $240.
Probably needs to be updated.
What's that?
That probably needs to be updated.
That was actually wasn't bad. They should have painted the outside. I recommend that.
Because these houses would not, you couldn't do a rural development loan for these homes,
Yes, yeah.
for 1 acre parcel.
Yeah, so the state just changed last year. Rural development loans were originally $225K maximum. They're now $550 maximum.
And this is in the rural development map?
Absolutely. The entire county over here is water. But yes. And then the maximum lot size for rural development is actually 2 acres. So you must be below 2 acres to qualify for rural development.
Anybody else?
Have you submitted a new site plan? I mean, the planning commission has no site plan or anything.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. You just have reasons for.
Yeah, no, it should be in the packet.
Yeah, there's in one of these packets, and it's not a site plan, it's a conceptual. Shows the,
It's not an actual site.
yeah, there's not a site plan required for a, that's a commercial development.
We did want to.
If they were to get this and go forward, they would have a site plan to build a private road and they would look at water retention, detention, runoff, sidewalks, how the road is constructed, and all that kind of stuff.
Because I was at the meeting and there was a gentleman that was concerned about some ditches that run into Lippincott Township, the drains.
Yeah, what he showed there drawing is it is farm tile stuff. We dealt with the same thing here. Those records were lost when that office burned down on Saginaw Street. We don't have them for our property back here, but it's something that they would deal with in the site plan process, maintaining or identifying or anything else? Anybody have any questions over here? Matt, do you have anything further to add, question or otherwise?
I guess in the master plan, it does say they could potentially change some things. Under RA, it does want, I think, 50% to stay to some sort of, what's it called?
Open space developments.
Yeah, so, you know, the only thing I can think of is maybe make a couple bigger. I know you're pricing people out at having a couple bigger lots, especially at the end. But with the bigger lots, you still house essentially more of the agricultural land at the end, and it would allow a little bit more condensed for the frontage.
Yeah. So I
and all I can think of is you could actually price those homes just even smaller, because you said the average is at $100,000 for every family. So you're gonna have people that are lower than that, you're gonna have people much higher than that. So, somebody that's coming out of college, a couple of years out, they might not even still be at 100,000. So they're still struggling.
Yeah. To acknowledge that Elba Township's master plan does request that when designing a site plan, and I understand this is just a conception, to factor in the preservation of natural features. So if we look at the actual site map, the back 2 lots are 2.5 acres and 2.7 acres, but there's only one back there. The back lots are bigger, and then on the other side is the detention basin for the storm runoff. We've consulted with County Drain Commissioner Amy Wagner already. Brought it directly to the detention hopefully get that resolved at site.
And that's, you know, more on the site plan aspect. I just a comment with the master plan. The master plan, when they're looking at that, and he went through the survey results, and what our residents want, all those items, whether it was subdivisions or otherwise, were in the 29% opposed, and, you know, the 60% were in favor of that, 57%, 60%. The master plan, we're not just willy-nilly rezoning. The overwhelming majority of our township is already overwhelmed. And we would only change an RA from a master plan standpoint if something significant was happening. For example, if we have sewers coming into an area or whatever, well, now we have sewers, we plan for smaller lots, etc. But outside of that, we would not just arbitrarily change our zoning to R1 or, you know, commercial or otherwise without those plan progressions. I think a key factor in this is the east boundary is the city of Lapeer. So they either play in Elba Township with our rules, or it goes to the city of Lapeer, which is what happened all the way to Millville Road, our original boundary, and then, doesn't matter the economic thing, goes to the city of Lapeer. But what I'm more concerned about is that I am now trusting the city of Lapeer to do right by the Elba residents as far as drainage or otherwise. There is a county drain that runs in that proximity. They put county drains at the bottom of the barrel where everything runs to. You put a county drain in. We have had issues with the city of Lapeer and their developments because, quite frankly, it's, you know, here it's, you know, goes to the township. Everything goes to a stormwater system and ultimately flows out into Farmers Creek or Flint River and goes downstream. That's how cities take care of their runoff. This is in the proximity of Sterling Drive to the south, which everybody knows was constructed in the 50s and 60s, and they actually have community septics and drainage issues, and actually was the reason that Elba Township entered into a 425 agreement with the city of Lapeer eons ago, was to take care of that sewer issues along with Lake Nepsing. And everybody is painfully aware that they never constructed those main lines, and we were forced to put in a Lake Nepsing sewer system on our own, and near 50 years later they still haven't done that. So as he alluded to a little bit, the relationship between the city and, I won't just say Elba Township, all of the townships has not been the greatest. So we control our own destiny here, where we're going to stop the annexation. They have that line. The Boundary Commission doesn't like islands, they don't like jagged lines, and it's very hard to annex properties that are already lived on. People are already there. It's easier to annex vacant property. So if we put a subdivision with 30 homes, 15 homes, 500 homes, those people would have to have an input on going into the city of Lapeer and paying city income taxes and higher village rate and all those sort of things. Probably would not do that well. So it effectively stops that sprawl from the city into Elba Township on that northern border. So, having been through, in my tenure, the planning commission, now the supervisor, I've been through those annexation. Like it was the last one. You know, it was the developer, you know, he's come to us, you know, we need the city of Lapeer, and that was 20 years ago. It still remains vacant. But the Boundary Commission, as you know, here, everything are done here. The Boundary Commission, in their infinite wisdom, went back to Lansing and not only approved that annexation, but went ahead and took all the residents along Millville Road, Oregon, and Davison, all through there, and said, well, we're going to eliminate those islands as well. So those residents woke up one morning, they were city or Elba Township. When they went to bed, and in the morning they were now in the city of Lapeer, and house was the same, nothing changed in their life except they paid more in taxes, and they were subject to income taxes and so forth. So we control our destiny in this particular, excuse me, this particular one. next Lippincott Township, I'm sorry. Lapeer Township or those. It's my 2 cents. Anybody have anything else? Thought one way or the other? And I'll thank you. I deal a lot with real estate agents before, but everybody in the office knows that when they say they're already smiling. The real estate agent on the phone with me, my hand up a little bit because they are nowhere near as informed and articulate. Questions you have, so I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Nothing else.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your guys' time. I did want to say that I started tonight by telling you guys that I was born and raised in Lapeer County, and that I have children who are going to grow up in Lapeer County, who will attend Lapeer Community Schools. I drive the same roads as you, and I see the same people as you, because for the first time in a long time, we have a development that's being brought to us by someone who's the same as you guys. Appreciate your guys' time very much.
All right. It's the board's pleasure.
Good job.
Everybody's looking at me, I don't. At my input, I'll answer whatever questions I can, or while the representatives are still here, if you have any additional questions, but it's on our agenda. We are the only body. The planning commission has a recommendation, and I understand why they did what they did, with what they had presented to them, but they are not the entity that has the power to resolve its own us. So.
I guess I'll be brave enough to make the motion that I want to uphold what the planning commission had suggested as far as, this to me, this information getting it on my desk, this does not give me time to be able to go through any of it. So I don't believe that that choice in 10 seconds is appropriate for our community. So at this point, I make the motion to hold the suggestion from our planning commission.
I'll support.
We have a motion and support. Do we have any further discussion? Stated my feelings are on, and I'm just not in favor of turning this over to the city of Lapeer, which is going to happen. That the other parcel is in the city of Lapeer, and everybody that I spoke to, every real estate agent with that has all come with the intentions of how does Elba Township feel about annexation to the city of Lapeer, because that's what they wants to do. The city manager reached out to me and said, hey, are you interested in another 425? I said, when you fulfill the requirements of your first one, maybe, but until then, we would fight you for an annexation. And that's what we would do. We would fight that, and it would be attorneys and all those other things. I just don't think that the residents clearly, in their opinion, which is more than 10 seconds, that was a survey that came to them, and they could take as much time as they wanted to fill that out. It's not even close. It's not even a 50-50. This is the development that our residents want. They don't want, commercial or otherwise. Unfortunately, we have 2 exits on I-69, and so we're going to have some of that, whether we like it or not. But they want to be a bedroom community, and so going with the wishes of our residents. Clearly, not even 50-50, it is an overwhelming majority. This is what they want. And they had more than 10 seconds. And I honestly believe that the planning commission probably would have a different recommendation if they would have had, I think your concept plan was just the site plat thing, nothing at all, no concept whatsoever with that. Anyone else? All right. We'll
Yes. It's like you go.
Motion is to deny the rezone.
Right, the motion is to deny.
Yes. Bales,
Yes.
Boskee,
No.
Terry,
Yes.
Fountain, no. Dreier,
No.
3-3, so that motion failed. So the motion to deny has failed. We don't have 10 here, so.
I guess I do think that we do need housing in Elba Township. Obviously, Mr. Gualdoni, Mr. Dreier actually resigned because he couldn't find a house. He thought he had to look at that more. So this is towards the city. It is going to get developed. It is very close to me, and it's kind of hard to me because Grandpa's right in Lapeer too. She's right over there as well. So it's hard to understand, but it is close to an R1, and I think it could potentially be easily an R1. It actually threw Mr. Maloney out because the previous master plan had it as going into R1. So that's kind of why I overplayed it. Just to let you guys know.
Right. Any other motions?
I know it's not what the developer wants, but I would like to see it go to the next meeting agenda. Possibly for us to be able to go through this. Instead of having it on our table tonight. I got it earlier. A lot of people didn't.
Yeah, I would send Saturday, so.
I just saw 5 minutes for the meeting, so. My initial thought was, I was at the planning commission, and the way I saw it presented was, they wanted it to be changed to R1, but they didn't have any immediate plans. They just wanted it from RA to R1. And now tonight we have a more elaborate, we have a buyer and a seller that was presented, and I just don't understand how this came about so quickly.
I think that right or wrong or indifferent is they just were, like, okay, this is an easy no-brainer, if you will, and so there just wasn't the information provided at the planning commission for their best foot forward. Because right from the get-go, the seller, I mean, the contact with the developer builder has been from day one, just like anything else.
What they're expected to do when they come to the planning commission, be able to present exactly what they're looking for?
No, in a rezoning, it's not the site plan. It would make great to have those sort of things. But the 6 points, for example, the impact that you're talking about, things to consider, if this was located on Mitchell Road, like I said, here, so that's a bad one. Choose any other gravel road we have here, Stewart Road. And, we have a 36-acre parcel, they want to put a subdivision there. Okay, when he covered the paved road, gravel road, what is the trips per day? What is the trips per day anticipated post-development? What kind of impact is it going to have on that? We didn't have that here.
Right, but saying the word affordable housing doesn't mean that these houses
What
are
is
going to be, well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I did title for 25 years, so I closed all throughout the state of Michigan. So, and have lived in Lapeer County almost my whole life. So people that wanted to be able to afford housing, guess what? You didn't live in Lapeer, you had to go more towards North Branch. That's been an inevitable thing that we've had to do unless you're getting somebody's family farm or you just by chance got lucky. So what makes, even if this is and goes to this subdivision, that it's affordable for anybody that is somebody newly out of college or whatever. I couldn't afford that, and so I had to leave the apartment for a short period of time until I actually, because most people, if you're coming out of college, you don't have 20% down to be able to.
And I think you get the nail on the head, affordable housing. So in order to get that affordable housing in Elba Township, we're gonna have to zone more for multifamily and encourage somehow or other apartments to be built. Can't do the Lake Nepsing, but I mean, Potter's Lake sewer system. I mean, that's
pushes us into that we have to do affordable housing, that's
So I'm
just.
having a conversation, that's what I mean.
I'm just asking, you know, that was what was presented. I mean, we're not mandated that we have to do affordable housing. So, I mean, that's not something that we have to do.
So in your opinion, these aren't affordable housing, so.
I don't know if they, at the end of the day, they don't have a clue either what the total projection of the cost by the time you have to, you know, somebody was to buy the lot and to build a house out there, if that is going to end up being something that would be affordable for somebody, you know, even in an $80,000, you know, a year income.
I just, you know, what was affordable. I mean, my daughter lives in Oakland County, my daughter lives in a trailer park, $1,800 a month. I think it's a little steep.
It's crazy. But it's also the market that we're in. It's just like rent is ridiculous right now. I would hate to make a rent payment.
Well, I think from my standpoint, I mean, if this parcel was somewhere else in the township, you take one of the big factors out of my decision making. But the fact that it is adjacent to the city of Lapeer, and the same seller owns the parcel in the city of Lapeer, it's a package deal. They are buying. They're going to develop this. They, through their decision making, have said, okay, the city of Lapeer will keep that parcel and develop in the city of Lapeer. Elba Township, if you know, we can have 1 acre lots, which our one is 40,000 square foot, but in order to have well and septic, it brings up to the 43 and change, whatever that is. And then it doesn't go to Lansing subdivision thing, it stays with the Lapeer County Health Department, stays with the Elba Township Planning Commissions for site plan review, our engineers for detention. Look at this drain that apparently drains property on the north side of Oregon Road. It's all in our control. It goes to the city of Lapeer, we just lose all that.
The city of Lapeer hasn't approved this project, right?
The city of Lapeer, they just take any time.
No, I'm just saying, they have, so.
If they come to the city of Lapeer and say, hey, we'd like to be in the city of Lapeer, never had the city of Lapeer say no yet. Even to the point of Lapeer Township, when they entered into an agreement, part of that agreement was the city of Lapeer would not participate or encourage any more annexation of Lapeer Township past that point for a period of whatever it was, 10 years. Didn't even make it 12 months. And they were right back in. Another person came along and said, we'd like to be in the city of Lapeer, and the city of Lapeer actively campaigned, fought for that annexation. I mean, that's a real simple thing. I mean, it's in Elba Township now. We have some say in the way that that's developed. There are actually 3 parcels involved in this, and you know, we have the one in Elba Township. What I originally saw, not the lot plot thing, was just a continuation of that subdivision on Oregon Road. Road just continued right on into Elba Township, and it was just the city of Lapeer. The city of Lapeer is wanting in the worst way to expand Lake Nepsing Road, that's the roundabout, and right up to Oregon Road. And right now, they own X, Y, in the school district when they were doing their expansions. The school district signed over Upper School to give them that property. The annexation that I talked about that is still vacant, it was hot and heavy, but gives them the other part of this is the missing piece.
Did you say that there's a parcel that is already in the city that they own already?
Yes. The east boundary of this lot.
That's why I asked the question, but the city hasn't approved a building on it yet.
They haven't started that yet. They're looking to, the developer's looking to buy these parcels to build homes.
Right, but I'm just saying they haven't went to the city yet, they started here, correct?
Well, all they do for the city is site plan, they don't have to have rezoning, or they don't have to have any of those sort of things. It's already in the city of Lapeer, it's already that condensed housing. Their next step for the city of Lapeer is just simply a site plan for, the road layout and subdivision of lots. They don't need the rezoning of the city of Lapeer, they already have it.
So it's already properly zoned in the city.
Yeah, the city of Lapeer, City of Lapeer just wants to continue on with that subdivision along Oregon Road.
I understand that, but they also had the problem with that, the Berkshire, Wood.
North, it's a completely different, but again,
I know it's different.
they just did the site plan aspect, not the rezoning or annexation.
Because we've had other properties, and I understand where this one lies, but we've had other properties in Elba Township that you have denied people that asked for this very same, split to happen as well.
R8, R1, where,
You had the Road.
Hampton and Burr Road.
It was quite a little, but they ended up being split up in planning.
There was a rezoning request that was turned down. But you're saying there was a rezoning request? I don't think so. I think that they went, that was the easiest way to develop that. Out rezoning was just dividing the parcels. It was an equal development. Not a request that was turned down. All right. What's the board's pleasure? And while we're talking, I asked for them for one part.
Well, when you just get this information, when you sit down at the table, I just think that you're asking, or they're asking, a ridiculous ask for something that we just received. I mean, it wasn't even something that was emailed that we had over the weekend, even though it was a busy weekend, but probably everyone sitting here. But still, at the end of the day, I just don't understand how they can think that, I mean, this isn't just like a very simple project. That,
We're not dealing with the project.
No, I'm just saying, this isn't something, a simple decision just to make, with this just be presented, it's not like.
It's the board's pleasure. We had a motion to deny, it was defeated. We're in limbo here now.
Again, we had some conversation after our last motion, but why do we need another motion?
Because theirs is only a recommendation. This body has to approve or deny the rezoning. They only have a recommendation. They have the initial talk, if you will, and explain the rationale that the planning commission had at that particular time, devoid of those. The planning commission members voted for it. The questions that they had, it's not the answers. To your answer, recommendation, this body is the only one that can approve of it.
Well, who says that all been answered? At this point, I can't say they've been answered, I haven't been able to do this research.
Enough where he had one decision, planning commission, and a different one here. His questions have been answered. Steve, you've been quiet. You're the only one who hasn't had anything to say.
Yeah, I was at the meeting, commission meeting as well, and it seemed like residents that spoke, again, they didn't have all this information.
Residents and spoke.
So one, any result, the majority. But again, they didn't have this, that's true.
Survey results, there's the township residents. I would say yours, but I don't know what that is, or that's something we can do, or if it has to be acted.
Well, I think anything could be postponed, so.
For our master plan, per their survey results, this is our residents. More residential housing is needed in the township, 81% in favor, 20% opposed. Single-family homes and subdivisions preferred, as opposed to 5 acres eating up the land, plus the housing, protect more open space. 50%, 29%. New housing adjacent to existing residential, opposed to the Stewart Road example, 61%, 22%.
It also can be developed as is with this current zoning. It's just not what they prefer. But in the current zoning, you could split this up into 5-acre parcels, which would be what the township predominantly does, which would be 7 parcels.
But each parcel, because each parcel
I'm
has
just-
to have
I'm
300
just-
foot of.
I know, I'm just like, I'm not, but I'm just saying, so the master plan also says, can it be developed as it is? Yes, as R1, they could develop it as it sits. So.
I agree with the second thing that I read, single-family homes in subdivisions preferred.
Again, to Katie's point, everybody that spoke up, which there was quite a few people that were here, there wasn't one person that was in favor of it, so. Opposed, you have to add those numbers to the percentage, which was, to me, 100%, that no one was in favor of it.
All right. What are we doing? Other than spinning our wheels.
I think if you get a motion now, it's gonna be 3 to 3.
Probably, I mean, that's the. Somebody's gotta change their mind and act on what we heard today or not, or open the table or whatever. Sat through a lot of different rezonings and so forth, and this, in my opinion, is probably the easiest one that I've had come to find.
Again, I do not. To me, the information that I have is the information we were given in our packet. This was not information that I was given in
I
my
understand
packet.
that. I didn't get it until this morning when I came here.
Right, but what I'm saying is off of just what we had to be able to do our research, this is the information we have. We did not have any further, we did not have that presentation. So I don't have a problem saying that there is no way that I would feel comfortable making a determination without doing my due diligence. And to me, it needs to be not even, maybe even the next meeting, but I don't know. I think it's just way too big of a project to get this at the table without even having a site to be able to look at it. I just don't think it's as easy as what you're saying. Because again, this is the information we had in our packet to be able to go on.
I'll just say that if you are doing we didn't have anything ahead of time, next GLT needs to hold the same standard. It's not in the packet. And
You're one vote, so.
I understand that, I'll be outvoted,
Do that.
and I'll be outvoted, but I think that is. Someone's gotta make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we table until the next meeting. So we have to go about information.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion to table this rezoning request to digest what was presented to us.
Dreier,
Yes.
Gualdoni,
Yes.
Bales,
Yes.
Boskee,
Yes, yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Fountain, yes.
All right, that motion is carried. So you'll be on the next agenda. We will digest that. Move us down to our next item, budget amendment. Because of the motion that was made for our dues at the last meeting, inclusive of the $1,900 training package, we exceeded that, so we need a budget amendment to dues and subscription. $2,200 from fund balance.
Motion to add the additional $2,200.
Do you have support?
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. Any other discussion? It's a budget amendment, so it is a roll call vote.
Dreier,
Yes.
Gualdoni,
Yes.
Bales,
Yes.
Boskee,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Fountain, yes.
Motion is carried.
So since we did do discussion, one thing, have you sent out written information to all of the board members so they know how to access that information?
I haven't gotten what the procedure is. I did when I was in planning commission, council let me know that, but I have not gotten the procedure as login or credentials or otherwise yet. When I do that,
All right, thank you.
yeah, that's up to the point that they're not eligible at this point. Next, Lapeer County Road Commission agreements. You have in your packet 2 agreements that were brought in. One is for the next and final stage of the Bullock Road from Merwin Road to Lippincott. We did Mitchell South and around by the Stewart, then Mitchell North to Merwin Road, and this is the next portion of that. Our road group has not met, has not discussed this, and quite honestly, I don't know anything about it. Gateway dropped it off, said there's approximately 600 or 660 feet of ditching. But other than that, what you see in front of you is the most that I know about it. And from a realistic standpoint, it's only in the packet because that was delivered with the other one. So whether we act on it tonight or not, it's immaterial at this point. It's not going to make any big difference. Have any questions with it? Comments?
So we don't know where the 2 driveway tubes are actually going in.
The 2 driveway tubes that they mentioned is 1944, which for anybody who doesn't know what that is the one with the fragrant aroma when you drive by. other than that, there's no, just, other than that, there's no other ones, proposed to be changed or otherwise, private culverts.
So isn't this just a review though, because that had limestone on it before? I mean, I know it was quite a while ago.
1984.
Right.
And I'll tell you my issue with this, just in the parcels I own, there's cross tubes that cross Bullock Road. And year one, they say they need to be replaced. Year two, oh no, they're not that bad. Just like they're doing Hadley Road out here, they went through and replaced all the cross tubes. They crossed Hadley Road before they redo the road. There's no mention at all of that in here. So we do the road, and one of those cross tubes fails. Next year, we're digging up our new road again. Never been a discussion that I had with them, but again, this was unsolicited, they just brought this.
I was gonna say for 73,000, I would like to hear from the guy, hopefully he comes to me and explain to us what's going on.
Well, we also have a road commission, or road, committee, so I think this isn't anything that is a dire emergency. I mean, I know the road is terrible. But this, when we had the road committee meeting, this was actually not even in the radar to be done, so.
From the road committee, no, I mean, it was not, it's just, if you think 2 years ago, we did that part of, because Bullock Road was done in 1984 all at the same time, so we did the south, we broke it up. So from a practice standpoint, this would have been the thing, but you're right, we did not discuss it, I didn't ask them to go out and do this is just, you know, hey, this is the next step, here's the, I didn't drive it with them, I didn't have any, you know, here's what we're looking to do with ditching. From the road commission standpoint, or our road committee, discussion about cross tubes, what you're planning with that, any of those sort of things, we didn't have any of that. So, because it was probably the other one, it's just in the packets of the board aware of it, but you're correct, there's no.
I just think it should take it back to the road committee meeting. Because again, this was not anything that was even on our radar when we had our last meeting. Can we just not have it? We just have consensus, we can have it.
That's fine. Is that the board consensus to?
Should we wait and talk about this? I mean, is this one, before we do that, is this something that is vital
What?
to prosecute for the other one?
That's already done. They already did it.
Okay.
So the consensus is the Bullock Road project to not act on it, gather further information, et cetera, et cetera.
When would we get the further information?
Well, I'm sure we'll have a pop-up or a little work group. I've got questions of Gabe. Again, I bring up, you know, what is your plan? He addressed the 2 driveway culverts. In the conversation, you know, it's 600 some feet of ditching. I don't know where they're planning on ditching. Maybe he may feel that it needs more than that, or, you know, I don't know. Typically on these things, you know, we have a powwow, kind of hammer out, make sure we're on the same page and you're doing what, you know, we see needs to be done, and we didn't have any of that with this.
I was just looking for a date, like you have a call
As opposed to Gabe, you know, coming to this meeting, you probably come back on the line, report back. They okay with that? All right, the next one is $13,500. That is a culvert on Berwin Road. It was between Hadley and South Elba Road. That one actually failed and they closed the road. I think similar to Stewart Road, and where it failed, and we got that notice, you know, after the meeting, 2 weeks and everything. This time, they did, well, we're sure that you'll pay for it, so we're just gonna go ahead and do it. It's already done. Because we can say, no, Now we're not paying for it, but that's the story on that.
We already do one on the,
Oh, we do them all, yes.
I mean, just recently.
Yes. Yeah. Further down by Mike Allen, there's a massive, none of these are small or easy, they're all larger ones, and of course it's a paved road. So we have to repave that section of the road, but yes. 2 years ago, we did. I know, Mike Allen. Any other questions? What's the board's pleasure? And I will tell you, I went out the time it failed, do my normal take photographs of what it looks like and everything else, and I left, I was driving back, and I felt something on me, and I had a tick on my face. Down in the weeds with this culvert. All right, what's the board's pleasure? Come on, it's my anniversary, I'd kind of like to maybe see my wife. And it's Rick's wife's birthday, so I'm sure she would like to. She's shaking her head no.
She's like, here all night long.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented using the allocation funds.
I'll support.
Any other questions, discussions? Roll call
Malcolm, yes. Dreier,
Yes.
Gualdoni,
Yes.
Bales,
Yes.
Boskee,
vote. Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Motion to carry. That brings us down to public time. Anybody wishing to address the ma'am?
I'll go first. Karen Pacheco. I actually live in Metamora, but I enjoy your meetings. Speaking of GLTA, which came up earlier, I was hoping to present this information first at a GLTA meeting, but that got canceled as they so often do. What I want to talk about is the interview that Kelly Bales did with Dave Bondi. So anyone can find this interview on YouTube, again, Bondi, B-O-N-D-Y. This was on May 15th of this year, and I highly suggest watching it. So I found this interview to be problematic for three main reasons. Number one, if you watch it, it appears that Ms. Bales is in her office at the GLTA when she did this interview. Now she did not bring up her role with the GLTA, but she was in her office, which if she were a federal employee, I believe could violate the Hatch Act. But in principle, when you are a government official, it's just struck me as ethically problematic at best. And not only in her office, was she on government time? Did she use her government computer? Did she use government internet to conduct that interview? So I think that someone should look into that. The second point is that she expressed a lot of opinions about local government, and particularly the city commission, which has been, so much in the news lately. And that could have implications for both her role here. She did bring up that she's an Elba trustee, but also for the GLTA and expressing opinions about the workings of government that she's got to work with. So I definitely, and as she has expressed opinions on Facebook as well, that, and a lot of those opinions were things like, people who are opposing what's going on with the mayor right now are sore losers who don't like that the commission flipped. That we just can't stand to lose a vote. That's why we're upset about what's going on at city commission. What it is much deeper than that. We have a mayor in Lapeer who is limiting free speech. He is doing all sorts of things that a lot of us see as he may not be well, that type of thing. So it's a very deep issue, and I felt that was quite dismissive. But the most bothersome part of this interview for me was that Ms. Bales gave some opinions about the people of Lapeer. And these are the people that she serves, the GLTA serves. And I'll read some of those opinions for you briefly here. So in speaking about the city of Lapeer, but I think with the growing in the last couple of years, we've added population that have come to our community that has not all come positive. I personally, myself, I feel it is something we need to pay attention to because we're not lifting our community. Actually, it's going in the opposite direction. This was the really problematic part. I would think out of our county that we've had, different community members from out of county come in because some of the different benefits we have here in Lapeer that are probably a little bit better than some other counties. So that draws people in, and to me, that's not always positive. So I, hope Ms. Bales will explain which population, which people did she mean with that? Because the people I know who moved to Lapeer to take advantage of the services are things like the GLTA because they have disabilities and can't drive. Also, did she mean the homeless? That's what popped into my head, the unhoused population. Is that what she's objecting to? So to me, I felt like she was expressing negative opinions about the people that she is supposed to serve in her role as director of the GLTA. And one more part that she mentioned about downtown, and then I'll be done here. So she said it's got a lot of history, and before I would even feel safe walking downtown. But now maybe not as much, and I want that back. I want that for future generations, not just for me, but for my son and his kids to be wanting to come and keep the city alive because other cities have died, and I don't want that for our community. Oh, I also want Lapeer to thrive, and I also grew up here. So who is she meaning making it less safe? I feel quite safe when I'm in downtown Lapeer. So again, I felt like that was a very problematic interview, and I will be taking this to other locations and speaking about it. Thank you for your time.
Anybody else?
Go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead, please.
Mike Ivory, 4924 Stewart Road. At first, I didn't know if I was in favor of the land, or, rezoning that over there, but 80% of the people said that they want smaller houses. I'm not for getting rid of everything. I farm everything. But if you don't do it, the city of Lapeer is going to take it, and you're going to lose the tax money that would have come to Elba. So you can either keep it here in the township, or you can give it to Lapeer, because I'll guarantee you, if you turn it down, they're gonna take it, because that's how government works. So you sit here and sit on your chairs, they're gonna take it. It's gonna be gone, and you won't have it. So you might as well keep the tax base in Elba, give the money to the fire department, give the money to your township, keep it here, don't give it to Lapeer. That's my feeling about that.
Anybody else? Yes.
Susan Huff, and I'm a Metamora resident, but I'm also an Elba Township property owner. And I want to remind everybody that it's not an open meeting if people cannot hear you. I can hear Ms. Pacheco very well. I just heard Mr. Ivory very well. I heard the fire chief very well. You folks have microphones sitting in front of you and I can hardly hear a crap. That's how bad it is. Some of you, I have no clue what you said. I don't want to file an ADA complaint, but I've asked over and over and over again for people to speak up, use your microphones. Would you please do that? Blake Burton, who came up here and spoke, how impressive. A Lapeer graduate chose to stay in Lapeer, is working to help the city of Lapeer. I was so impressed with the information he had gathered and brought here. It really made me feel good about the education that he got in our Lapeer school. So it's wonderful when we see young people like that showing off what you can do as a Lapeer graduate. I hope he has an opportunity to help more families move into this community. This is the second municipality I've been to where people are talking about not wanting to provide more affordable housing. And again, affordable is a subjective term to some degree. But a 5-acre parcel versus a 1-acre parcel, there's no question there about which is going to be affordable. And as Mr. Ivy said, we're right on the boundary of the city. This is the place to give that opportunity to people to come to our community. Help our graduates stay in the community, be able to buy a home and live in the community, and yes, keep that tax money here in Elba. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I would just like to just address our road situation over in Monticello Estates. I know you guys have addressed the Lapeer County Road Commission agreements. Those are like big projects, but I was just, if there was anything in the making that, like Kingsbury Drive being the main entrance going into Monticello Estates, there's craters. Somebody, you guys had somebody come in maybe a month or so ago. They came in, they dumped some gravel or whatever in there within 4 days. It's right at the end of my driveway. Within 4 days, it's ripped up, it's big holes. People are coming into the subdivision, they're veering over into my driveway, causing now divots in my driveway, everything. So it's becoming unavoidable. And those potholes are pretty big. So I was just wondering if there's anything in the plans for Elba Township. Who's responsible? Like, who does the city plow our roads in that subdivision? Are they contracted to plow our roads in the wintertime?
I'll answer that for public time, I'll come back and figure out whatever questions you want.
Okay. So I was just wondering if anything was in the plans to do something with that road.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I just wanted.
You want to stand up? You go first. Yeah. I'm an Oregon Township resident near the proposed development. I was just here to hear everyone, but also voice my support for it. I think the last one is very important, and I know there's a lot of work to be done by them for site plan and such, but I don't quite understand why the township wouldn't do that.
Thank you.
Zach Becker, 5107 South Washington Road. Liked by some, hated by most, especially this year. So I guess I didn't even know that the Lake Nipissing party store kind of came to a halt. So just kind of listening to everything going on, I kind of see that it's a planning commission fail. Did we do an MDOT traffic study? Was there an environmental impact study? Was there a subcommittee from the planning commission going through all this? We should have been able to head that off in the past, knowing that was a private drive. We should have been in front of that. And that brings me to the next thing that I've been thinking about. I've been seeing a lot in the news on different townships throughout the state on these data centers and moratoriums. Don't know if you guys have talked about that, thought about that, had a meeting about that. I'm a little bit worried if we're able to get a project that far and get stopped. Should we look at a moratorium on a data center? Should we be talking about that? Just something, to bring up. And then as far as the roads, everybody got fired up on Facebook today because the roads were bad. And I said, come and voice your opinion. Hopefully more people do. People get fired up, I think, because of the lack of transparency, because, probably not coming to the meetings and seeing what's being done as far as roads. I can tell you, I could list 5 roads right now that need ditches done in Elba Township. And it would help the roads, not just in our neck of the woods, but in other areas. It would be great to see that acted upon. What is the township spending on roads? That's probably a FOIA request down the pipe for Elba Township and for the Lapeer County Road Commission. How much money are we spending? Bullock Road probably needs to be resurfaced. It's been a while since I drove down it, but as far as resurfacing roads, just ditching a lot in a lot of areas. So that's just something that's on mind. There was 2 culverts replaced recently because they were failing on Lippincott Road close to the farm, one on Washburn Road. But the brand new culvert at the bottom of the hill on Washburn Road, the water doesn't get to it because it's running down the road and not the ditch, because the ditch is just not existing. So, hey, we got the culvert in, but it's not being, and that was an emergency because the road literally washed out. But, I guess transparency on that's probably gonna help a lot of people understand what's going on when they're bitching about fixing the roads and all that, so. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes.
I'm in agreement. I just moved into Monticello Estates here, 2 weeks ago. My father and mother used to live in Monticello Estates. And yes, those roads in there, it's not just Kingsbury, Haverhill is bad, all of those. And I would like to know what is going to be done. And I don't want it to be a one-on-one discussion. I want it to be able, whoever shows up at this meeting is able to hear it right out of your mouths of what is going to be done with that Monticello Estates.
Thank you. Anybody else? And I'll go through and answer. Here's the roads, so between you folks and first of all, the data centers, the township does have a moratorium on those. We're going to board an ordinance with that. You'll hear the Mike Boskee spiel on roads. And anybody who wants, I keep all the documentation in my desk. It's been held all the way to the Michigan Supreme Court. Townships are not responsible financially or liability legally for any roads. None. They are not a township function, period. We spend our standard budget, $125,000 when I started, but we have been spending upwards of $350,000, $450,000 a year on roads that are not our responsibility. More importantly, that's not sustainable. That's our budget. We spend that much just to operate the entire township, and then we're putting that money in roads in addition. We're doing that by taking money out of our savings, out of our accounts, to fund the road commission. Now, in all fairness to the road commission, everyone, we are a donut. Elba Township, or Lapeer County is famous for being a donut. We are the second to the last one to get 911. I mean, think about that. We have the UP, Northern Michigan, we're the last ones on that to get that. The county commission, for whatever reason, proudly announced that we're always in the bottom 3 for taxation for the entire state. We're at the bottom. I don't understand that at all. Somebody's talked about, paying taxes. None of your property taxes go toward roads. You don't have a millage, it's just not there. Lapeer County gets all of their money from Act 51 dollars, which is the gas tax. That's it. That's the source of income for, well, let me correct. There's actually a small portion that they get from license plate tabs, but very small. The 90+% of their budget comes from Act 51, the gas tax. COVID, nobody drives, they get less money. All the stay-at-home workers, the electric vehicles, all those sort of things reduce the amount of money that Lapeer County gets. So Lapeer County, I say we're in the culvert business, because what is it that they do? I would like to plan to do roads. I would love to go around and pave Monticello, for example. Let's do something proactive. But what happens? We have a culvert failure. We're closing the road. If you don't pay for it, it's going to remain closed. That's the road commission's answer. So that's where we're at. I mean, we've spent right here between these two, you're better than $100,000. I remember my very first meeting as a township supervisor. We had over $40,000 of culvert replacements in that one meeting. How can we be proactive? Again, reiterate, it's not a township function. It's not.
So you're telling me,
It's
Lapeer
the
County,
road commission.
Lapeer County
Yep.
Road Commission.
So the road commission is the one who plows your roads, the road commission is. And so we did not send people down there to patch. I will tell you, people, hopefully so, residents contact me, and then I reiterate, because the complaint of the road commission calls it back. At least I have some cell phone numbers and so forth to contact them and say, hey, we've got another 10 complaints today on such and such a road. But we're at their mercy as well. It was up to me, whether it's the roadside mowing, whether it's dust control, any of those sort of things would be done on a much different schedule than what the road commission does. But it's not up to the road commission, and I hate to rant like this, but the road commission is like having a teenager. Seems like the only time you hear from them is when they want money. I'm an ATM. I mean, that's just the way it is. The other thing, Mr. Wagner, with your site plan, that was not a planning commission failure. The planning commission approved that based on assurances they had access to Trade Center Way. That was a issue with not having that, but the other things had nothing to do with the planning commission. It was their failure to pull permits and secure. Like if you have a site plan, we do that. You still have to go and have building construction plans. You still have to go to the health department and get your septic and well and everything else. Those other issues that are going on were not related to Elba Township at all. So once we were notified that in fact they did not have access to the Trade Center Way, we immediately notified them that, okay, this is going to be problematic for your site. So anybody else have anything to add with that? I'll talk to you as long as you want it.
I just have one quick question. Do you have blight ordinance here in Elba Township?
We do.
Okay.
And you heard in the meeting, our deputy that does that is no longer with the township, was promoted, so we're in an interim.
Okay.
I know right by you on Lippincott is a issue with.
There.
We are in the court thing, so we're beholden to the court. We issue tickets. It's out of Elba Township's hand now.
Okay.
They're paying fines, and I kind of surmise that's the way
Okay,
it
yeah,
goes.
that's what I'm talking about.
All right, having gone through the agenda, declare the meeting adjourned.